Hello.
Hi,
How are you, Sharifa?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Is this meeting already started? It said recording is in progress as I turned it on. Hi, Justin. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Joyce.
Hey Joyce.
Um,
Hey,
so
Peggy.
I'm not sure if Isaiah's. I heard the recording in progress as well. I don't know if it's streaming or if he still needs to do that. You know.
Yeah, it's okay. I just was wondering. But
Hey,
that mic
Justin.
drop thing, like Justin said last time.
Yeah, Justin, I got your call. Do you need me to call you back, or are you
No,
good?
no, I was just concerned it was like 4 minutes of and nobody showed up yet. I thought it was me.
No, no. Okay. All right. Good deal. Um, so it does look like we have quorum with four. Lily's here. Okay.
Ruby.
Yep.
Yep. Has anyone said if they were not coming this evening or not?
I've not heard from anyone that they are not going to be here. Leon's been joining through the public link,
Uh-huh.
so he might be in the waiting room, the attendees. I've not heard from Peggy.
Hey, Ruby, how are you? Happy New Year, everybody.
Hello, how's everyone?
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Season.
May it be new and better. Peggy's not here. Well, sometimes she comes in the other way too. You guys see there's an MACC meeting. This is the end of February.
What is it? I'm sorry.
I'm
Hmm.
sorry, I stepped away, Joyce.
There's an MACC meeting. I think it's the end of February. Is it? Did you notice, Lily? Did,
I think I saw that email briefly or something on the website. I just don't remember what the date
yeah,
was.
I'm gonna be
They
away that particular
they do
time.
normally have one in this time of year. I haven't really been trying to sign up for anything. Uh,
Yeah.
due to the last mayoral administration's kind of policy on training. But now that we have a new mayor, I'll reach out to his office, and if they're, supportive of staff and members of the commission signing up, I'll let you guys know tomorrow.
Well, particularly for Leon, or for people
Oh
that
yeah,
get those beginner courses.
right. Yep,
Yeah. Or
absolutely.
Justin, have you taken any of those?
I haven't taken any, but I have gone to,
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
we
We went.
we all went together almost a year
Yeah.
ago, I bet you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're very informative. It's definitely worth going again.
Mm. I'm gonna be away that particular weekend though, but unfortunately I would have gone otherwise, for sure. Hi,
Hi,
Leon.
Leon.
Happy New Year.
Hi guys, Happy New Year's. How you guys been?
Recovering. Mm. Leon, were you here on December 17th? On the meeting, at the meeting on December 17th?
I
You
was
were, you were not. Okay.
Madam Chair, I think that message that we received, the recording in progress, means that the webinar has begun. So
So we
I
are live.
think all action. Yeah, I mean, I think we are live. I've not heard from Isaiah, but I think that is the case. So I
Okay,
think we're ready to start the meeting when you are
okay,
prepared.
certainly. It being 6:31 on Wednesday, January 21st, I call this meeting of the Brockton Conservation Commission to order. The meeting is being conducted remotely in accordance with Governor Healy's open meeting provisions, the extension signed on March 28th, 2025, which extends access to certain remote and hybrid meetings until June 30th, 2027. Real-time public participation and comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom virtual meeting software for remote access. If you wish to comment during a public input portion of a hearing, please use the raise your hand function to be addressed at the appropriate time. For those of you joining by phone only, please press *9 to raise your hand. Please note that all comments made are public record and should be made in a way that is respectful to others. Should personal or inflammatory remarks be made, the host reserves the right to mute the speaker. A copy of this recording will be posted on the City of Brockton's webpage. All votes will be done via roll call vote to ensure count accuracy. Commission members, if you would state your first and last name for the purpose of establishing quorum.
Ruby Clay.
Peggy Curtis.
Lily Green.
Tarifa Map.
Justin Talbot.
Ian Edwards.
And Joyce Forrest. And we're all here. Thank you. Quorum is certainly established. Before beginning tonight's meeting, for the purposes of the public, in case you're here wondering when something is going to be heard, we have the following items that are going to be continued until the next meeting, which will be, what is it? February. Do you have the date? I thought it was the 21st?
It looks like February 18th would be the meeting.
18th? Okay. Thank you. Sorry, you usually write that down. Next meeting on Wednesday, February 18th. Those are number 3, 940 Belmont, number 4, 549 Copeland, number 6, 0 Hammond, number 8, 196 Manley, number 9, 484 Pleasant, number 10, 1824 Main Street, number 13, 55 Christie's Drive, number 14, 0 Clarendon Street, number 15, the property at Center and Plymouth Street. Commissioners, may I have a motion, please, to continue those till the following meeting?
I make a motion to continue the above mentioned items to the next meeting on February 18th.
Motion seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Clay, I.
Curtis, I.
Green, I.
Map I.
Talbot, I.
Leon abstained.
And Voris, aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Okay. The first 2 items on the agenda would be the minutes of the meetings. The first one, December 2nd, 2025. That was the one where we discussed the fencing and several new NOIs. Does anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to make about those particular minutes? You had a chance to read them?
Madam Chair, I read them, but I rely heavily on the retired school teacher to go over this for me.
Thank you. Thank you for your trust. The only thing that I just happened to be, no, just one quick thing that I wasn't sure about, and that was basically when we were having the discussion about fencing on the Quincy Street subdivision. I wasn't sure, and I just was wondering if how the commission feels about it. I know that we had mentioned something about, that the side fencing would be okay. The back, we could put we would recommend, right? That would be post and rail. Is that correct? But if it's outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, there's really no jurisdiction. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, so if I may just interject here, so like
Please.
it's kind of a fencing that's within the commission's jurisdiction needs to be explicitly approved by the commission if it's not like a post and rail fence. So because the fencing at the back of these lots next to the resource areas that we've already permitted through the issuance of an order of conditions did not include that fencing, we
Right.
needed to either approve that after the fact by just kind of signing off on the certificate of compliance, or we could require that the homeowner reapply with an RDA or a notice of intent or whatever, for a fence there. So we said that the commission decided if they have a post rail fence in the back, because that's an exempt type of fence because it allows that passage of wildlife, then we're not going to worry about it. But if they want something outside, something something different from a post rail fence, like a chain link fence, then they would either need to file with us or we would need to sign off on that with a certificate of compliance when we issue that. So that's just kind of where we ended with that. And then if they wanted to do the solid privacy fence between the lots, even if that was within the commission's jurisdiction, we decided that that was going to be okay.
Okay. And did you send information to the
I
applicants?
sent an email to the developer, but a lot of these lots have been sold. The lots that we currently have an order of conditions active on. I've not done any explicit outreach to them. Um, and I've not really heard back from the developer either. So
Okay.
that's something I can certainly circle back to, and just kind of make sure that I was kind of relying on the developer to make the homeowners that he's selling these lots to aware of this.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we might have to send out direct letters. I just don't know which homes are currently occupied, which one,
Sure.
so it's kind of one of those things. I just need to reach out to the developer and kind of coordinate with
Okay.
him.
Commissioners, I'm not sure how you feel. I was just wondering if it's at all possible for us as a commission to say, if we have a large development like this with multiple resource areas, that because of the installation of the subdivision, now those resource areas are fragmented. If that actually if fencing could actually be part of the subdivision plan, as opposed to being left to the individual lot. Because what on earth difference does it make if we say, okay, you guys, okay, dear, you can run through the middle of this yard here, but you're going to end up up against, a closed off area across the street. I'm not sure that would, I don't know.
I
Well,
think
again,
that
I
makes
just want to caution the commission that, areas that are outside of the 100-foot buffer zone, I mean, what's done there is kind of completely out of your hands as long as it meets other, building codes and other, city ordinances. So you can work within the bounds that you have and within the authority that you have, certainly, especially near the resource areas, like in the back of the lots. But what's done in the front, by the roadway may not be something that we can. It just depends
Yeah.
on each
It's just, I think
individual,
I'm thinking more of the
subdivision.
back of the lots on the, I don't know. I don't know. It just seems to me so unfair to not allow ready access for the
Yeah,
wildlife.
that's certainly something that could be and probably should be considered before this point in future subdivision developments, certainly. Hmm.
Okay, I just think I just wanted to know if the minutes could reflect something like that it maybe could be looked at the subdivision level, maybe.
Isaiah? I think Isaiah's having trouble with his mic. He texted me earlier. With that request, Madam Chair, we can certainly include that in the minutes, assuming that
Okay.
because I do recall that that was something that we had discussed
Yeah, I
at
just
that
didn't see
meeting.
anything. I just
So
didn't
we'll
see
make sure
anything.
that that's included in the minutes
Okay, that's
before
great.
we
Okay,
in the when we ratify them.
okay.
He did write in the chat for us. See that?
Pardon me?
Isaiah wrote in the chat.
Okay, include that. Okay,
Yeah.
see it. Thank you. Thank you. And that's okay with you guys, commissioners?
yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, then I entertain a motion then to accept the minutes as amended.
Madam Chair, is that the amendments for the first minutes on December 2nd or
Just the
both?
first minutes, yeah, just the first minutes.
I
Or
make a
just the
motion
date.
to accept the minutes on December 2nd.
Okay,
I second that.
motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Clay, I.
Peggy, I think you're muted.
Curtis, I.
Green eye.
Map I.
Talbot, I.
Leon abstained.
And Voris, aye. Okay, then motion passes. The next is Conservation Commission minutes for December 17th. Beautifully done, sir. The only thing would be, I think Leon was noted as present in those minutes.
Okay, if I was there, then I'd like well, I'll stay abstained for now, but I forgot.
Oh, you did? Did you come late to that one? I wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure because I missed a couple meetings.
Okay,
We can confirm that through the video for this meeting minutes here for the 17th. So before we finalize the meeting minutes, we will confirm Leon's attendance and reflect that in the amended minutes accordingly.
Okay.
okay, that's great. Okay. Did anyone have any changes or alterations to make to those minutes? Any recommendations? No. I entertain a motion then to accept the Wednesday, December 17th minutes.
I make a motion to accept the December 17th minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Clay, I.
Curtis, I.
Green eye.
Map I.
Talbot, I.
Leon abstained.
And Voris, aye. That motion passes. Thank you, thank you. Okay. So number 3 and 4 are continued. So the first actual one that we will hear will be the notice of intent for 0 Lawton Avenue.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I do not see anyone associated with this filing on the call tonight. So the way that we ended this discussion at the previous meeting on the 17th was a few members of the commission met that Monday before that meeting, which would have been like the 15th of December, out at the lot at 0 Lawton Avenue, and we walked the site, looked at the resource areas with the applicant's environmental consultant, with I think it's EBT Consulting. And in any case, Glenn with EBT wrote up a kind of a brief that described what we discussed at that site visit, and submitted that to the commission members, or to the commission for the commission members that were not able to attend that site visit on the 15th. On the 17th of December, not all the commission members had a chance to review that memo, so we continued the hearing to tonight. To allow the commission members to read that, and the goal of the discussion for us, the commission tonight, is to provide the applicant with some guidance on whether or not the commission wants to see this kind of development go through that peer review process, or if the commission thinks that because there will be direct wetland impact, that the commission does not have an appetite to entertain this development at all, because there is language in the Wetlands Protection Act that says the commission may permit this type of activity rather than shall. So because the language is may versus shall, the commission can just decide that they don't like that development, even if the rest of the performance standards are met. And the commission is not required to issue that order of conditions. This is not how standard projects are before the commission, but with this specific type of resource area and the proposed work here, this clause does come up. So the applicant was wanting the commission to weigh in on whether or not they should move forward with their peer review, because that takes time, effort, money to go through this peer review process, if at the end of the day the commission was going to deny the project outright anyway. So that's kind of where we are now. We've been out to the site, reviewed the resource areas, and we've had that memo from the applicant's consultant. So at this time tonight, I would like to see the commission kind of have a discussion. I can answer any questions to the best of my ability. But then ultimately, we don't need a formal vote here, but just kind of a straw poll on whether or not the commission thinks that it would be worth the applicant's time to move forward with this proposal, or if the commission feels that ultimately this is something that the commission wouldn't feel comfortable permitting.
Hmm. Let's see, Sharifa, you were there, right? Justin, you were there? Ruby, were you there as well?
No, I didn't make it
Okay.
to that particular site visit,
Okay.
but I did read through the reports and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Certainly.
so when we first look at the site plan that was initially submitted to the commission, the resource area delineation on that site plan, I can share that with you now. Let me pull that up just so we can kind of talk about the same thing here. Let's see. So the initial site plan, let's see here. Okay. It was pretty constrained as far as where all the resource areas were, according to the initial delineation that was done for the project. So this was the initial site plan that was submitted to the commission. And there was some recent fill that had been dumped on this site. The extent of that fill is kind of this textured, almost looked like sandy kind of area through here. That's the extent of the fill. The proposed dwelling, it's a small dwelling, 24 by 32 feet. And initially, all of this area back here was classified as bordering vegetated wetland. And the area in the back of the lot here and this area up in the front of the lot were going to be areas that would be replicated, new wetland replication to offset the impact of building within the wetland over here. There are all sorts of technical issues that we've got to deal with, but one thing that the new consultant noted, and it was in that report with the commission, is that there's a ridge that kind of runs along this portion of the site, kind of through here, kind of right in the middle of where this BVW is currently mapped. And it is the applicant's consultant's contention that the area to the south of that ridge is completely isolated and would not qualify as bordering vegetated wetland, but is in fact a non-jurisdictional isolated vegetated wetland. So part of the proposal would be to connect or remove portions of that ridge and connect the BVW to this potential isolated wetland. And by doing that, these other replication areas wouldn't be either required at all, or a much lesser area would need to be completely, developed into a wetland. So, all that is to say that the initial site plan and proposal was very, very tight as far as the requirements of the act and just the area, the space on site for these replication areas to be, constructed within. But it looks like that the actual on the ground resource areas are not as constrained as initially depicted to the commission. So it's my opinion that it's very likely that the applicant will be able to meet all of the relevant performance standards under the act. And it's also very likely that the area that's currently proposed here for wetland replication may not need to be as extensive or there at all. But again, we don't know those exact numbers until we move forward with that peer review process. So we don't have any specifics, but it looks like this may be able to be permitted, but because there's that direct wetland impact, it's up to the commission to ultimately issue that order of conditions or not. The memo that EBT Consulting put together has a lot more detail in there. They also talk about improving an area that's currently BVW and enhancing that habitat by doing some work there. That's kind of an additional carrot. That's not required, but that's kind of an additional thing that the consultant and the applicant are willing to do to kind of whet the commission's appetite to allow for this development to happen. And that's all outlined in that memo that they put together for the commission.
But the building would be directly on wetland. I mean, it would unfilled wetland, the actual building itself.
Yeah, there would be impact from the construction of the home into the wetland, and that would be offset by,
Yeah,
either
yeah.
wetland replication or connecting that currently non-jurisdictional isolated wetland to the bordering vegetated wetland, which would be then all one big bordering vegetated wetland.
And Mr. Lopes is not here, he said. Justin or Sharifa?
Madam Chair, I remember going out there and I believe, was it Par was out there with us as well? Is that the correct company,
Yeah.
firm?
They were there.
Yes, that's correct.
And after reviewing, I mean, I think they can meet all standards. I'm not an engineer. I do remember the gentleman that was there with us was a barrel of knowledge and
Kowalski, yeah.
what he
Yeah.
explained to us and I mean, I think I think they can meet all performance standards that need to be met to build this home. And I believe that when us as a commission looks at these, it should be on a case by case basis. So they're not all going to get approved or denied. In my opinion, I think this could happen, in my opinion.
I agree with him also.
I do think
Glenn
that
did a
the land
Go
will
ahead.
be wet. I mean, there's no question that, but who are we to say no? But I mean, but Mr. Lopes or whoever has to realize that even if we say, okay, you can go ahead with the peer review, that does not guarantee necessarily that we
Right.
will approve the final project.
Yeah, and I can make
That's
that very clear to the applicant and his representative. I mean, and that's absolutely true. The commission is not bound by any decision that's made tonight. Really, we're just saying, hey, if the commission kind of, votes favorably, even though we're not doing a vote here, that's just saying, hey, go ahead with a peer review, on your own, risk, and if, show us what you can do, show us what you can put on this lot. And then at the end of that process, once they demonstrate that they meet all the performance standards, then the commission will do that final weigh in.
yeah.
While I've got the mic here, I would like to make one additional comment.
Go ahead.
I know that the entire commission hasn't been kind of working on this, but I have met separately with the chair and the vice chair, not recently, but at the end of last year. We spoke about potentially putting together a new wetland ordinance for the city of Brockton. And we attempted as a commission to do this probably in 2003 or four, and that did not make it past city council. Ultimately, city council would have to endorse any of these ordinances for them to be passed, and it didn't make it through that process. That ordinance that didn't make it through was a very dense document. It was very long. And so one of the strategies that the chair and vice chair and myself were discussing was putting something together that's on a single sheet of paper, very easily to digest. 4 or 5 like of our top points of things that we would like to be codified in ordinance. That way, we could have a little bit more, not necessarily teeth as far as enforcement or anything, but like one of the things that comes up all the time is this 25-foot buffer zone. And according to the Wetlands Protection Act, there's no difference between 1 foot away from that wetland line and 100 feet from that wetland line. The buffer zone is the buffer zone. Doesn't matter how close you are. We have 25 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, just so we can kind of see on these maps how close, what's being developed is to the relevant resource area. But there is no technical difference between any of these areas. However, a lot of local, a lot of towns and municipalities, cities across the state have their own bylaw or ordinance, and in those you can have stricter guidelines. And one of those that our commission has considered, given the fact that we have a 25-foot no touch policy, would be to codify that and make a local ordinance that would include a 25-foot no touch zone. That doesn't exist now. The policy is kind of a guidance rather than anything else currently. It's not legally enforceable. However, if the commission were to move forward with that pushing forward with that ordinance, now that the new city council members are going to be sworn in and we have new mayoral administration, if that's something we decide to push forward into the next year, just keep in mind that this might not be something that would be allowed under that potential ordinance as well. So again, that's not set in stone at all. Nothing's finalized. We haven't even really begun that process, but that has been a discussion topic for a while. So take that and do with it what you will. Thank you.
Mhm.
I had a question about the last the map that you just showed. What happens to that stream if they do a restoration area somewhere else? Does it get subverted?
So all of that would have to be worked out in the peer review process. So you are correct that within that BVW that was mapped, there is a stream that runs through there. I think it's a perennial stream. It's basically got water flowing it all year long. Um, so that stream, even though it wasn't on that site plan, is itself a jurisdictional resource area. So it's got bank associated with it. And so all of those things have their own performance standards that would have to be met, and that would be kind of worked out in that peer review process. Um, I know, and I'm not the guy to talk to specifically about this. I wish Glenn were on the call tonight, but he isn't. But he's done several of these kind of habitat enhancements, and that enhancement is within a jurisdictional area. It's either within the wetland, the BVW, and it might potentially also impact because it's kind of like the area that the water is coming from is almost like it's not a spring, but it's almost like a spring. It's coming out of a drainage tile that's kind of providing all the water to this area. So, and it's very, very clean water. And I'm not sure exactly where, the bank of that stream begins, and how you have to deal with all of those resource areas. But the habitat enhancement that Glenn has done in other areas around the state has to get like endorsement by DEP, and similar projects that he's done in the past have gotten that endorsement, even though it may impact some of these areas. So to be short, I don't know, but all of that would have to be kind of worked out ahead of time in that peer review process. And it ultimately, if the commission is not comfortable with that, at the end of that, we can either not have them do that habitat enhancement because it's not required, or just not approve the project entirely. So just to kind of speed things along here, it sounds like Commissioners
Yeah.
Talbot and Mapp are in favor of allowing them to continue with the peer review.
Mhm.
Any other comments, concerns from the commission members?
I mean, if we have
I'm in favor of it. If it meets all the requirements, I'm in favor of it. As long as the applicant is fully aware of the expectations, like he knows exactly what he's getting himself into. He understands that there's still a process. It may not be approved. As long as up front they know what
Mhm.
is going to be happening and taking place, I think that's fair and impartial for everybody.
Mhm. I can agree with that. And
Okay.
as long as, yeah, he would be, so it's the applicant that would take on the cost of the peer review anyway, right?
Oh yeah, yep, yep.
Okay.
I
Lily
think
would, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead,
I
Peggy.
think yeah, I think a peer review would be necessary at this point.
Yeah, and we've already voted to have this project go through that process. It's been kind of stalled out, and before they continue plugging along with that, they just wanted to, you know, hear some affirmation from the commission that we're not going to kill it before it begins, basically.
Mhm. I think if there were a 25-foot absolute no touch zone, we wouldn't have there would be no option. There wouldn't be an argument. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
And again, that's not codified anywhere yet.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
under the current law, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we don't need a formal vote or anything. I've heard positive, or at least continue with peer review comments from 5 of the members. So I think it's sufficient. I will reach out to the applicant and their consultant tomorrow and kind of inform them about this discussion. And, allow them to, recommend that they proceed with the peer review. And that obviously they know they have to meet all the performance standards, and the commission is not bound to any decision made tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's no action, no public hearing or anything like that is necessary, right?
Well, this is a public hearing, and this
I
was a
mean, no
discussion about the project.
hearing,
So
no hearing from the public.
if anyone would like to discuss this, I mean, we certainly couldn't entertain that. Um,
Are there any hands raised?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So the next item on the agenda would be number 7, 68 12th Avenue, a sunroom addition.
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is a project that's been ongoing for a while. So a couple of weeks ago, I reached out to a few projects that we'll be discussing it on tonight's agenda, asking for an update or something just to kind of get the process back moving in the right direction. And so we have Greg. Let's see. Ernst, who's speaking to the commission tonight, representing the applicant, Annette Epps, for this. Ultimately, this is something that the commission's already voted to send out for peer review. There will be impact to flood zone or bordering land subject to flooding, and so that does require cut fill calculations to be supplied by the applicant. These are engineering calculations, and that's just been a struggle to get those. So we just need additional information before we can even send the project out for peer review. So that peer review process has not yet started. So Greg is online to speak to the commission about where we are with this. Just before we turn this over to Greg, I did receive an email from Scott Faria this afternoon stating that he had been in contact with Ms. Epps, the applicant, and will be doing those engineering calculations on her behalf and hopes to have
Oh,
those to us within the next week by the 28th, he said.
okay, we'll go to cut fills. Okay, good.
Yes, she did. He reached out to me, asked me for everything I had on this
Excellent.
particular project. I sent it to everything I had to him today. And I believe he is meeting with um, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name from the engineering firm. It was I got it right here in front of me. Scott Farah. Yeah, you just said that name. Scott Faria. He he's meeting with Mrs. Epps on Friday.
Good.
Yeah, the requirements that we need are pretty low. You know, this is stuff that Scott and his firm do very often for the commission. I believe there was also like the floodplain itself needed to be on the site plan. Just things like that just hadn't been updated. So Scott should be able to meet with them. I've got emails to Greg that I can make sure Scott has, just kind of outlining exactly what the commission is requiring before we start that peer review. But yeah, this is not a big lift for Scott. He should be able to pound this out in a week or so. So I'm hoping that we'll get those revised materials next week, and then we can begin that peer review process because it's just been kind of hanging out for
Yeah, for
months.
quite
So
some time.
yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Ernst, will you be actually doing the patio enclosure? Will you be actually doing the sunroom?
Well, my company will. Well, I won't
Yeah.
physically be doing
No,
it.
no, I meant your company. I meant your company. Yeah.
I'm a little too old for that.
Never.
Back in the day, I used to. No,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that sounds like positive movement. That's good.
yeah. So I, they'll have that meeting on Friday. Um, you don't think that's Kyle? You don't think that's a lot of work that needs to be done? She was worried that it was going to be very intensive and very expensive.
Well, I don't know what Scott charges as his rates go, but as far as the site plan modifications, no, I'm not an engineer. I can't do the cut fill calculations. But for this size of project, and with the proposed work, this is going to be pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm sure Scott or his engineers can get this out in a couple hours. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. Once Scott and his firm are aware of what all needs to be done, it's just very minor plan modifications in that cut fill table. It shouldn't be too heavy of a lift.
So is it, because some of the stuff he sent me, it was just way over my head. But So is that just, does he just need to modify what we've already done, or is he starting with?
Yeah, yeah. The site plan that you have already is one that Scott's firm has done. So they already have that base plan. It's just making some minor edits, adding some engineering tables, some extra lines on that map, and then we're in good shape. So it sounds like a lot when it's in email form if you're not familiar with what's going on, but like it's something that they should be able to knock that out pretty quickly.
Okay, all right.
And then
All
from
right.
that point, Kyle, once you receive those, then you will forward those on and then request a peer review? Is
Yeah,
that
so
correct?
Greg, just yes, so just the next steps in this process is once we receive those revised documents, then I will confirm that we have that information and everything that I've asked for is there, and then at that point, I will send out a request for proposal to three pre-approved firms that are working with the commission as consultants. They will put together kind of a scope of work that I will kind of dictate to them, along with their cost estimate. I will then review those three proposals, make sure that they meet all of my requirements, and then I will forward those on to the applicant, and Ms. Epps can review them and choose one of those three firms to fund. And then they will, she will send a check to the city Brockton, to my department, and then because the firm works for the commission for the city, and they do this work on the city's behalf. So once we receive that funding, I will then communicate to the selected firm that they are able to proceed with the review. And this review should be pretty quick because we're really just looking at confirming resource lines, and then that's not a huge deal here. It's mostly just floodplain that we're dealing with. And then it is just reviewing those cut fill tables, which is again pretty straightforward. And this should be a pretty quick review. Sometimes these things go back and forth for months. This shouldn't be one of those projects. This should be pretty quick to get approved ultimately, I would think.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So would we need then a vote to continue?
Yeah, yes. Ultimately, no actions done here. It was just that we needed an update, and if the applicant was failed to attend or failed to provide compelling reasons or evidence of positive movement on the project, then the commission could entertain the denial of the order of conditions. But given that there's movement happening here, I don't think that's necessary at this point.
Okay.
And and Kyle, if you wouldn't mind, it seems you send me stuff, you send her stuff. She seems she seems to never get things, even though I see her name attached to it. So she 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 gets it, but she claims she doesn't, if that makes sense. So any way you can keep me in the loop, I'll make sure she
Yeah, no,
comes.
that sounds good, Greg. I mean,
Yeah,
I've got a group email chat that I've got, you and I've added Scott to it. I've got her son Frankie on there, so like I'm doing the
yeah,
best I can, but like
yeah,
for
yeah,
absolutely, I totally hear you. I'll
yeah,
just when we begin this peer review process, I'll form a new email chain with like everybody, and then
yeah,
we
yeah.
can just hopefully work through that all together.
Like for this meeting tonight, I said, "Did you get that email?" She said, "No, I didn't." And I look at the email, her name's on it. She did get it. I don't know why she doesn't see them.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
anything you can do to help would be appreciated, Greg.
oh yeah, believe me, I want to push this along too.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Good.
pushed by people over my head.
Yeah. Okay.
This has
Good.
been lingering for like close to 2 years.
Which is why we wanted to get it moving on the
Oh,
agenda, really.
believe me, we wanted to
Really.
move too.
Okay, good.
All
So,
right, thank you. Thank
thank you.
you.
Commissioners, entertain a motion to continue.
I make a motion to continue 68th 12th Avenue to the February 18th meeting.
I second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Clay, I.
Curtis, I.
Green eye.
Map I.
Talbot, I.
Leon abstained.
And Warris, aye. Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. Let's see. The next item on the agenda is 31 Otis Street, notice of intent.
You're all done with me.
We are. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thanks, Greg.
All right,
Oh, I
thank
see a
you.
hand raised for Nate De Silva.
Yeah, and Nate's to talk about 31 Otis Street.
Okay, good. Hi, Nate.
Hi, can you hear me?
I
Yes.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so I just wanted to provide a brief update regarding 31 Otis. I know Kyle and I had a phone conversation roughly about a week or two prior. He kind of said that the email was sent out just to get the ball rolling on a few of these projects that seemed like have been stagnant for the last couple months. And I wanted to provide an update that we will be submitting the plan along with stormwater design calculations and the stormwater report. We've made good progress on getting that finalized. It will definitely be in prior to the next conservation hearing. We're hoping for even sooner than that, probably hopefully by the end of this month. Um, it's just a very constrained site with a few different technical issues that we had some hurdles to jump through on the design for pre and post stormwater management, but we're getting that done with the aim of sending out for third party review to get not only the initial NOI looked at, but also the stormwater looked into.
Okay, so both will be done by the same peer reviewer?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions at all for Mr. De Silva?
And if I may,
Kyle?
I had a question for Kyle. I know you had mentioned to one of the last applicants when you sent out for peer review. Do you review the three options yourself and then pick the most optimal, or would you send those over at that point? Or
Yeah, so I define the scope. Basically, I require that they attend a meeting with the commission, basically the last meeting before the issuance of the order of conditions, so
yep.
they can answer questions from the commission along with you as the
Hmm.
representative of the applicant. Um, in addition to that, it includes the initial review includes three letters, rounds of
Yep.
review. So one, you submit the initial material that you're actively working on now
Yep.
to me. The first letter, then you'll have an opportunity to make revisions.
Right.
They'll check those revisions for the second letter. And they might have more comments or say that you haven't addressed them. So
Yep.
we have got three rounds of back and forth that are covered under the proposals.
Perfect.
And then beyond that, and that's
Okay.
basically where I leave it with all three firms. And they're free to kind of figure out based upon what materials you provide, what they think the work is going to be required. Then they give us a quote. I don't choose the
Correct.
firm. I allow the applicant to select the firm. After
Perfect.
I review the proposals to make sure that they meet all of my requirements, and
Yep.
that they're basically as close together as we can as far as what the proposed scope is. So we're
Hmm.
trying to compare apples to apples. But
Yep.
ultimately, it's the applicant that will review those and select their preferred firm to work with. And that might be because they've worked with that firm before, or it might be just solely based upon the proposed cost. It's up to the applicant to make that choice.
Perfect. Yeah, that answers my question entirely. It's all I was curious about, and like you mentioned, it's set up to be able to bounce back a couple rounds, but that may not even be necessary depending on how it goes initially.
Yeah, I mean, if the submission is perfect to begin with, we won't need those extra rounds of review.
Mhm.
Sometimes it goes longer than that, and additional funding will be required after
Yep.
um, an amended proposal is put together. But
Hmm.
we tackle that when we get to that point.
Perfect. Yeah. I know I share the same sentiment as the applicant and the homeowner. We want to try to get this moving along and get that house built. So we definitely plan on having that submitted, like I said, prior to the next hearing for sure, and hopefully even sooner than that.
Great.
And I just want to echo what Nate was saying there. As opposed to the previous project at 68 12th Avenue, the project at 31 Otis Street is extremely constrained technically, and it's a challenge. So I don't fault them for taking some time to kind of really sort all this out because it is a very constrained site. And then in addition to that, Nate has mentioned that they are moving forward with the stormwater report as well, which is not required by the Wetlands Protection Act for the commission to do that review. But the applicant has elected to have the commission do that review since we are already required to send this out for peer review anyway, and we'll just do the stormwater review at the same time rather than having to go through the stormwater authority. Which also is sending things out for peer review currently when they decide to meet. So we're just trying to facilitate the best and easiest way for this to move forward through the permitting process with the city, and the applicant has elected to have the commission do that stormwater review to kind of facilitate that.
Great. Thank you.
Agreed.
Good. Now, will that require should we vote to continue then also?
Yeah, if
then?
there are no more questions, we can just continue this to the next hearing. Yep.
Commissioners?
You need a motion
Yes,
to,
please.
okay.
To continue.
All right. 31 Otis Street, I make a motion to continue to the February 18th meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Clay, I.
Curtis, I.
Green eye.
Bat eye.
Talbot, I.
Leon abstained.
And Morris, aye. Okay, thank you. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a notice of intent for 23 River Street.
Good evening, I'm Ken Thompson.
Hi, Mr.
Can you see
Thompson.
that? Good evening. I'm the wetland scientist for the project. Can I have screen control, please?
Yeah, Ken, go ahead and try to share screen, and if you can't, let us know.
I don't see anything to let me do that. Can you see me?
I can see 5 wetlands displayed.
Don't see your face.
Yeah. All right. Why don't you bring up yours then, Kyle? And I'll
Yeah,
talk you
I can
through
do
it.
that for you. One moment, please.
Looks
I
like
have
I see.
no
Let's see here.
no idea why it's not working.
All right, so Ken, I'm first going to share the overall site plan, and then when you are ready, or if you would like me to share this before, I can bring up the restoration plan provided.
All right. 23 River Street consists of a single-family home and existing garage sitting on a terrace overlooking the large floodplain of Trout Brook. The wetlands were found at the base of the steep slope there. And then we have the floodplain halfway up, and then the 25-foot buffer above that. Can you go to the proposed conditions, please? Next one, please. All right, here we go. What we have, is there a question?
No, thank you.
All right, they're going to tear down the single-family home in the garage, and they're going to build a triple-decker. Stormwater's been designed to collect all the stormwater from the parking area, as you can see, back to the top right corner of the parking area. There's a storm scepter, which will drain to a series of cul-de-sacs. Also, notice from the house, it says RD. There's a line there from the front top corner. That is to collect all the roof runoff. The issue with this property, I had a nice presentation with photos, but between those two mulch socks there in the back, do you have my mitigation plan, please?
Yeah, give me one moment, Ken.
Yep, not a problem. What's going on in this slope is the previous owner, old retired guy, probably doing landscaping, completely filled this slope with about 3 feet, 4 feet of branches intermixed with metal. So that whole area, the whole area has to be restored. I had some pictures to show you. The site was pretty much trashed. So we're going to propose to remove all that branch and metal and separate it, recycle it. And then I'm going to install deer fencing around the entire area and plant it up with some upland shrubs, and mainly shrubs. I'm using a lot of black huckleberry, bush honeysuckle, and winged honeysuckle. Winged honeysuckles will grow large and spread by root. The bush honeysuckle is a small shrub, more western part of Mass, but it's available. Another one that by rhizome roots and spreads that way, and then black huckleberry. Because there's established trees on this slope that don't have to be disturbed, and we'll mulch them in and then seed the area with New England wildlife mix to get it stabilized. the center line here, did you see that thin line there? I'm going to install a straw wattle due to the steepness of the slope. And then at the bottom to protect the wetlands will be a mulch sock, and at the top a mulch sock. One issue I didn't bring up in the plan. You see where that U shape sticks down the slope? That's
Mhm.
going to be an outlet for a drain, subsurface drain for the cellar.
I'm sorry, a subsurface drain for what?
The cellar, collecting water from underneath the building. So it'll be
Uh,
collecting groundwater and discharging it there.
Is it going to be a sump pump?
Not that I know of, just like a drain underneath the slab.
Under slab.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it'll be groundwater. It's not, yeah, just groundwater. Can I entertain any questions from the commission?
So is there a foundation that will be poured?
Yes, yes,
Oh, okay.
it'll be a whole new construction there.
Okay.
They're going to tear down, res the original house and garage, build a foundation, and build a three-story decker there.
So that parking lot, um, that double lined thing that goes down and around a little bit there. Yeah, that thing right there.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the edge of the parking lot. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, correct. And if you look at the contours, it all drains to the top right corner where there's a storm scepter that then turns around and feeds back to the Caltex.
104. Or it will sheet flow down that high hill down into the wetlands, right?
No, no, I think that's curbing. It's
Oh,
going
it's
to hold
curving.
it. Yeah, it's going to hold it there. Originally, we had it designed with a gravel trench around it, collect it. But doing some of the stormwater work with Kyle and everything, we needed someplace to put the roof runoff. So they came up with this plan of the Caltex. So it's all infiltrated.
So that thing that looks like a little beehive will be underground. Is that right?
Yes. Oh, no, the beehive is a gravel construction entrance during
Oh,
construction.
oh, only for, oh, okay. Oh,
Then it'll be paved and back to storm stuff. For me, the biggest part is cleaning up and getting that slope reestablished.
mm.
It's the branches are 3 to 4 feet thick.
Where
It's
would
been
the
happening.
snow removal go to?
It would be probably in the corner of the parking area near the storm scepter.
It's right against the 25 though, no?
Yes. That line, that mulch sock basically is the 25 footer. There'll be no trees cut. The trees are basically along the top of the slope or within the slope. They'll all be protected. We won't be touching those. It's treed down to the bottom and a little bit on the top of the page as it extends further out.
So have you
But
received a stormwater permit yet?
my understanding we have through the building department, but Kyle, can you confirm that?
I'm sorry, confirm what?
I didn't
Uh,
know if you,
the the stormwater permit.
So the stormwater permit would be issued by the Stormwater Authority. The Stormwater Authority hasn't met for like 6 months. So what happens after the fact? So let me just take a step back here and talk about the permit. The notice of intent application is before the commission, and the order of conditions, and then like I'll walk through the whole permitting process ultimately to get to that build permit, right? So right now we've got this notice of intent application before the commission. We're looking at this proposed work. Um, Really, we are able to move forward and issue an order of conditions. All the work here that's proposed is within the buffer zone. We're not doing any impact to the floods to the floodplain. We're not doing any impact to the wetland itself. So this is all work that the commission could approve potentially tonight. So assuming that you are issued an order of conditions, Then you have this order, but you still need to go and get that build permit from the building department. Uh, Technically, to receive that build permit, a three family does require, according to the Brockton Stormwater Ordinance, does require a stormwater permit from the Stormwater Authority. Stormwater Authority hasn't met for 6 months. I don't know what their process is to be issuing stormwater permits. I'm a member of the Stormwater Authority. I've never seen a single stormwater permit application in the last 2.5 years. So I don't know what that process looks like. I don't think there's anything in place currently. So how all this is managed between the applicant whom you represent, the Stormwater Authority, and the building department who will ultimately be issuing a build permit is kind of out of my hands. I don't know how the city is doing that currently. So it's kind of up in the air. I don't know if they're just, we're just issuing permits without the stormwater review, or if we're getting stormwater permits that are being issued without the sign off of the stormwater authority, but I don't know. But what we're looking at now tonight is the order of conditions, or this notice of intent application for the order of conditions. And the stormwater permit is just kind of up in the air. I just unfortunately don't have an answer for you. So this is why I recommended that the applicant elect to have the commission do that stormwater review, like we have discussed previously tonight. I don't know if you were on the call earlier, Ken, but for 31 Otis Street, similar type of project where uh, the Wetlands Protection Act does not require a stormwater review of a three family, but the local ordinance does. So that applicant is having the commission do that review because based on previous discussions with the head of the DPW, who manages the stormwater authority, the previous mayor Bob Sullivan, and some other people around the city, the law department, we agreed that if another city body did a stormwater review, like the Conservation Commission, Planning Board, or whomever, for whatever reason, that the Stormwater Authority would kind of, rubber stamp that review as long as that review was done to meet the local stormwater ordinance in addition to the state standards. So that's kind of where we are. I just don't have an answer for you, unfortunately. Um, so I don't know what that process looks like.
Interesting. Um, well,
Do you
that's in my
expect
engineer. That's in my engineers department. I'd like to work forward to do this for the notice of intent and the wetland issues, and he will be responsible getting that stormwater permit.
Yeah, and then ultimately, if any revisions are done to the plan, to meet the stormwater ordinance requirements, then an amended order of conditions may be required at that time. So, you know, we can move
I'd
forward
like
with
to
this.
proceed. I'd
Yeah.
like to proceed in that method. You know,
Yep. I hear you. On that note, if I may just kind of summarize the review of this notice of intent so far for the commission. Um, Upon initial submission, we did have a discussion about the stormwater. In addition to that, the commission asked Ken to provide that restoration plan for that slope. We have received that plan. We just looked at that plan a moment ago. Ultimately, all the proposed work here is within buffer zone only. As I mentioned before, no direct impact to resource areas. So, assuming the commission is fine with that restoration plan, this meets all the performance standards for an order of conditions. Um, and we could just move forward with our general, special conditions. We would want to include language that we normally use for restoration projects, where there's reports required and like full growing seasons monitoring before issuing that final or certificate of compliance. And that's basically all that we would generally require for this type of project, assuming that we're not doing that stormwater review. Um,
What about,
One final,
excuse me, Kyle,
yep.
what about the markers delineating the 25-foot buffer zone to go no further or things like that? Would that be required at this time or at another
Yeah,
meeting?
yeah, that would be included in the order of conditions, certainly. So
Hmm.
to kind of pivot to that, as Ken kind of mentioned here, there's a very steep slope at the the eastern portion of this property down to the wetland, and I think that just that's also going to be the this where the sock is kind of is basically the 25-foot buffer zone, also the extent of the restoration area, and that's where I would recommend that we install the conservation markers.
I
along where
also
this silt stock is.
Also, I have a very quick question. So you said it's but several feet thick of debris that's on that slope. Is
Yes,
that correct?
ma'am.
So will you have heavy equipment there to remove it?
Probably as part of the construction project, they can just reach down and pick it up and pull it out. It's
And that can be a
branches.
special
That's
condition,
great.
Madam Chair, that no heavy equipment is on that slope, that we all the heavy equipment is like outside of this 25-foot buffer. We can establish this silt sock and just say, no heavy equipment beyond that. Obviously, they can reach over and pull things up, but just, I mean, because you honestly you wouldn't even want to take heavy equipment down the slope. It's extremely
Yeah, yeah,
steep.
yeah, yeah. And then would you put fill there once you've
No,
removed all that stuff?
no, I would
Okay.
not imagine. I mean, there's loom under there already. There's no reason to, the only, no reason to dig it out or anything. So it's just leave it in place, hand dig the shrubs in, rake it out, seed it, do my mulch thing, and get out of the way.
Hmm.
The whole thing's going to be wrapped in a deer fence in the end, anyways, just to protect the plants during establishment.
And Ken, just for my information, how long would that deer fence stay up? Is that like you leave it up for a year? Is it for the entire like 2-year monitoring period? Like what would you recommend for that?
I'd probably leave it for the 2 years and then
Hmm.
just take it down. At that point, the plants are established, the roots are in.
Yeah.
There's going to get deer damage. Anything you do, any young plant, it's inevitable anymore. I just don't want to give it a chance without having to come back next year and replant it, which is what's been going on for the last couple of years.
Commissioners, any
Anymore.
questions?
No questions from me, Joyce. The explanation and Kyle, that was your report in regards to adding the special conditions, making sure we know where the markers are going and that stuff. That'll be a part of the special conditions.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
included in the special conditions for the order of conditions. One final
Okay.
special condition that I'd like to recommend to the commission. This is again completely up to you all to either accept or not. But because of the stormwater issues that I've kind of outlined previously, again, there's just not really a mechanism in place currently for that review to be done with the city of Brockton. So the planning board, given the same information that we're operating under, has begun issuing kind of their own special conditions for their planning board approval decisions, requiring that some sort of you know evidence of that stormwater permit, not necessarily the stormwater permit itself, but evidence of a stormwater review be submitted to the planning board before construction begin. And so that would be a special condition that we might entertain for projects like this that we are not individually doing the stormwater report or review for, but nevertheless, they do require local review. One of the requirements for the filing of any notice of intent is that the applicant must at least apply for any locally required, ordinance, variance, whatever, before they file the notice of intent. Like any other permits, I'm sorry, not ordinance, any other permit or any other variance that they require from like zoning board or whatever, before they file the notice of intent. So that's there to make sure that that all other permits are at least filed for before the commission is entertaining a project, and then ultimately issuing that order of conditions. The intent there is to make sure that the project that the commission is looking at and approving ultimately is compliant with all other local ordinance and requirements. So, all that said, the commission might entertain, including a new special condition requiring that the signed and stamped stormwater report, signifying that everything meets the Brockton local ordinance, is provided to the commission before the pre-construction meeting and before work is begun on the site. That way, we can kind of just make sure that the stormwater, ordinance has been met and we can leave that up to the applicant to how they want to navigate that. But before they actually begin the construction, they've got to provide some additional information to the commission.
So would that be a continuance? So
Oh,
No,
I'd
that would
like it
just
as
be
a,
a special condition that we include in the order of conditions require because so
for pre-construction
after an
meeting?
order of conditions is issued, before any construction is done, our commission requires a pre-construction meeting where we review the site plan, the order of conditions, and everything. Often we require that the erosion controls be installed by then, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page and the protections that the commission is requiring are in place before they begin construction. If a project begins construction without that pre-construction meeting, that is grounds for an enforcement order. We could include stop work orders along with that. That was something similar happened with this, not with this, but something similar to that happened with 10 Exeter Street previously this year, where they didn't have that construction meeting. They moved forward with the construction. They received a stop work order until we kind of sort all that out. There was additional issues with that one, but that's the kind of the idea here. So by requiring that before the pre-construction meeting, we're just making sure that that stormwater permit is ultimately applied for, and some sort of engineering review is done before they move forward with construction.
That makes sense, Kyle. Because then I mean, if you look at it holistically, that doesn't slow anything up. So I think that definitely should be a part of the special conditions.
So do we have a complete list of the special conditions that would associate this if we were to continue on this evening? Not
I don't
continue,
have them
but
written out, but
yeah.
basically it would be some sort of language requiring and I would model this after what the planning board is already. I've got the planning board a couple of decisions here that I could read you. I'd probably take bits and pieces of each of these decisions and make some unholy amalgamation that would be what we put in ours. But I'll read you what the planning board has done for a couple. So this is for the first project, and this is for those paying attention for the this is for the soccer field complex over on Howard Street. Planning board had a condition saying, upon completion of ongoing engineering and stormwater peer review, applicant must return to planning board to provide the results of that review signed by a licensed engineer, showing that review is complete with all review comments satisfactorily addressed. Another project, this is for 117 North Main Street. The planning board issued part of their decision reads, applicant must return to planning board to verify and show evidence signed by a licensed engineer of test pit confirmation and proper stormwater review completion prior to any building permits beyond demolition permits being issued. So something along those lines. In this case, there is an existing building there. They can go ahead and demo that building before they get the stormwater review done. So I might kind of take some verbiage from both of these, put them together. But that's kind of the idea that some sort of report, be issued and be submitted to the commission before we move forward with that pre-construction meeting. And the reason it just doesn't say stormwater permit submitted is because we don't know what that process looks like. Obviously, construction in the city of Brockton hasn't come to a grinding halt over the last 3 years, but the Stormwater Authority hasn't been issuing stormwater permits for at least 2 years now. So somewhere things aren't lining up. So we just want to make sure that we're actually getting a stormwater or an engineering review done of the stormwater management for these sites. Is the ultimate goal here with that language. I know that Lisa's got her hand raised. Before we move on over to her, any other questions about that specific language about the stormwater piece that will be included as a special condition?
I just want to add no salt um,
It's
to
not snow
the.
piled up. I don't think snow should be right up there against the storm drain. I don't know. It depends. If there's no salt though, I guess it's okay.
So as far as like the snow management, unfortunately, the reality is you come in off the street with your snowplow, and you sometimes, depending on the amount of snow, you've got to get a fair bit of momentum with the truck, and you're really kind of limited to where you're going to put that snow. And as Ken mentioned, you know, let me get my mouse going here. This area is likely the area that's going to be used for the snow. Obviously, the commission can condition things, but realistically, is that snowplow guy going to have a copy of the order of conditions? I mean, likely not. Conditions, special conditions, when we permit things, should be things that can be followed and that can be enforced. If you came in with a truck here, you might be able to turn your wheel and push some of the snow over into this corner, but I think realistically you're going to have to pile some snow in this portion. There is that storm scepter here that will drain as the snow melts down into the infiltration units here. What salt does to that over several years, I'm not sure if that would ultimately clog things up. I think that the salt would eventually make its way down here, and it probably eventually make itself incorporate itself into the groundwater because throughout the rest of the year when we're not dealing with snow and ice, just rainwater is going to be coming in through here, and that will probably flush some of that salt through that system. But again, I have no idea. So I know we're gonna get back to Lisa, but we were kind of outlining the special conditions. So the stormwater requirement of some sort, some language requiring that be submitted to the commission uh, before the pre-construction meeting. We have no salt used on the lot. That's certainly something we can include in our order. Additionally, language about the monitoring and the extent of the monitoring for the restoration area and the reporting associated with that.
Use
And
of
then
the equipment.
finally, the location of the 25-foot conservation, the conservation markers along basically the top of the slope, where the restoration area is going to end here along this
What
porch.
about use of equipment for
Yep,
clearing the?
absolutely. Thank you. Yes, and then finally, as the chair mentioned, no heavy equipment is to be utilized on the slope itself. They can reach over, but not beyond that erosion control at the top of the slope. And that is the list of special conditions that are in addition to the normal conditions that the commission issues with an order that I have.
Commissioners, do you have any other questions before we go to the public?
I have no more questions.
I don't have any. I think I outlined the special conditions accordingly, so I don't have any other questions.
Justin or Sharifa?
No, I agree with
No,
you,
I'm
Joyce. I
good.
think everything's covered.
Okay, Lily? Okay.
Looks good on my end. Yep.
All
Okay.
right. Would you like me to promote
Lisa,
Lisa
who's public?
Crowley?
Sure. Hello, Miss Crowley.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for all your work. And I just wanted to say, it looks like it's going to be a nice addition to the neighborhood. I just wondered if it needed to go to the zoning board, if the three-family was by right, or if this was R1C.
Yeah, Lisa, Isaiah, if his mic is working, might be the best person on this call to answer that. He deals with planning board. He admins for that board as well. It's my understanding that this type of project generally doesn't meet the threshold for site plan review that would then go before planning board. But I'll defer to Isaiah if his mic is working. Yeah, so Isaiah, it looks like his mic is not working, but I'm not sure if you can see the chat there, Lisa, but he says no site plan
Yep, no, I
for
can
the
see that.
project.
No, that's great. And I wondered how many square feet is this new three-family? I
Hold
can't
on.
tell from the plans.
Hold on. Each floor is about 860 feet, square feet.
Like 2,400 on like a seven tenths of an acre. It sounds like, it looks like it's gonna be pretty and it'll be a nice addition. I hope it works out well and I hope you meet all the requirements that everybody is asking for. So thank you for updating that neighborhood.
You're
And that's
welcome.
it.
Thank you, Lisa. Commission, do you feel like you need a copy of the special conditions or anything, or just
Yeah, for this one, we probably should, Joyce.
So just to clarify, you would like me to draft all of the draft the special conditions for review before the next meeting?
yeah, if we could do that, I think I don't know
No,
how
I don't have a
feel.
problem with that.
It's
That's
necessary,
fine by me.
May I make a comment, please?
of course.
After what I've heard about these special conditions, they're acceptable to the project. We accept your commission. I know you have some details on the stormwater stuff, but that just says it has to have a stormwater review prior to us going to construction. And I understand that. Just make,
Mhm.
just let you know, I accept all those special conditions.
I just wanted to see them all in print so we have an idea of exactly what it is that we're voting on. That's all, if it's possible to do that.
No,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I don't have a
And
problem doing that. So I will work on drafting the special conditions as outlined for review, and then hopefully an issuance of the order at next month's meeting.
be voted on the next meeting. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Commissioners, is that okay with you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
All right, thank you, Ken.
Entertain a motion then to continue. 23 River till
I make a
hopefully.
motion to continue 23 River Street to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
What's the date on that?
February 18.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. See you then.
Motion
All right.
seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Clay, I.
Curtis, I.
Green eye.
Map I.
Talbot, I.
Leon abstained.
And Boris, aye. That motion passes. Thank you. Okay, the next thing is 58 Trout Street, a violation notice.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just have an update for the commission. I don't know that anyone else is here to speak to this. I asked for the person that we issued the enforcement order to, the property owner at 58 Trout Street, to issue to give a letter to the commission, kind of explaining things. I did not receive that letter, but I'm comfortable kind of outlining the issue here. So. We issued an enforcement order to the property owner at 58 Trout Street in October for uh, basically doing kind of a development on the adjacent lot that they also own without a notice of intent. So they basically developed this whole big parcel that's adjacent to the lot that has the home on it. And they developed it into this kind of outdoor space. They had a pool there. They had some tables for entertaining, a fire pit. It looked great. Looks like a fun place to hang out. But unfortunately, that was within the floodplain and right up next to a wetland system, like a large wetland system. Excuse me. So the commission issued an enforcement order in October requiring that they put together an after the fact notice of intent application to demonstrate that they meet all the performance standards, under the act. One moment. All right, sorry, excuse me. So the property owner has been working on that. They secured Ibis Environmental as a consultant to work on the project for them. The wetland scientist that is Ibis Environmental is his name's Steve Ibis. I've known Steve since I moved out to Massachusetts. He's a great guy, very very knowledgeable. And he's been working on this project, but unfortunately, Steve has been having some health issues over the last year, and he just finally got a diagnosis, and he needs some surgery to be done and he won't be back in the field and recovered from that surgery for several months. So, unfortunately, Steve is not able to meet the deadline that the commission gave to the property owner at 58 Trout Street. And I think that deadline was either
January 10th.
this Monday or the previous Monday. So just recently was the deadline, and unfortunately they're just not going to be able to meet that because the consultant that they've secured is unable to continue doing that work at this time. So at this point, I just wanted to throw this out, make sure that you were all aware of this. And the applicant, or not the applicant, but the property owner is hoping that the commission will be willing to work with them and grant them additional time to either allow Steve to recover from his procedure or allow the property owner additional time to secure a different consultant to get out there and begin that process of that notice of intent application. So there's no like formal vote or anything that needs to be done here. I think that if we want to just kind of push back this, um, this deadline by 3 months, and hopefully Steve will have a quick recovery and he can get back out there and do the work. And if Steve's, recovery timeline doesn't match up with that, then it also allows the property owner time to uh, secure the services of another consultant to begin that process. The violation has been in place for several years now. There's no like immediate danger of imminent pollution or erosion happening at the site. So, working with the applicant, given the complication here, I think it is totally reasonable.
Yeah, I think the 3 months makes sense. I mean, I feel like that gives them enough time. If the gentleman hasn't recovered, at least that allows them time to find someone else and kind of kickstart things based on that. So I'm in agreement with the 3 months.
Kyle, was 3 months enough?
Yeah, 3 months was the original time allotted. So again, it's going to be kind of tough because I think that on one hand, the property owner does really like working with Steve, and Steve's already begun some of the field work associated with just determining the extent of the encroachment, if there has been any encroachment. So I think the property owner would like to continue working with Steve, and I just want to make sure the commission is aware that it might take 2 or 3 months for Steve to get back in the field. So I think the 3 month extension is great. And I think at that point we should just be reassessing where we are with things. And if it's apparent that Ibis Environmental is unable to continue doing that work, we may be pivoting at that point in 3 months for the property owner to then choose someone else. Because right now, there's no way that Steve can be doing that work now. But I also don't want to rob him of that business, nor do I want the property owner to force them to work with someone else if they've already established this relationship with Ibis Environmental. So I think that giving them a 3 month extension just to kind of let the health situation kind of hopefully work itself out, we will have a better idea where we stand in those 3 months, and then we can kind of decide what the best path forward is at that point. Is kind of my thought.
This is something that you would just be able to do without a vote or anything, right? Because
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. That sounds fine. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
And the last one is utility notice, National Grid, a line asset condition refurbishment.
Yeah, it is that time of year again where we are beginning to get a lot of utility notices. Just for those who are unaware, a lot of critical infrastructure type of work is exempt under the Wetlands Protection Act. This might be transportation, electrical, water supply, things like that. So National Grid has supplied a letter to the commission dated January 6th, talking about a project that they will be doing through 3 different communities: Brockton, Easton, and Stoughton. Basically, they're upgrading an above ground electrical line that runs through all 3 of these communities. What the letter that they supplied to the commission on the 6th was specifically talking about the exploratory like soil tests that are associated with this larger project. The soil tests themselves are considered a minor exempt activity for the maintenance, the regular maintenance of a public utility. So the work that they're outlining in the letter that they've dated is 100% an exempt activity that we don't need to they don't need to file further with the commission. Just alerting us that they're doing the work, and then making that claim is sufficient as far as the act goes. However, the actual maintenance work may not be exempt itself, but the soil tests are. So this letter is only covering those soil tests. And when they move forward with the actual the project proper later in the year, if parts of that are not exempt under the act, they will then be filing a notice of intent with all three communities. And at that point, I will be working with those two other communities to coordinate to try to make sure that we have very similar requirements, assuming that an order of conditions is issued by all three communities. So the requirements for the project are kind of a similar along the entire length. That way, Brockton doesn't have one set of requirements that kind of contradict with what Easton's doing, which is different from Stoughton. So we can kind of have some, some cohesiveness across the project. But we're not there yet. The soil tests are absolutely exempt, and there's no action required by the commission at this point. This is just kind of a heads up. The letter is in the file if you care to read through it.
Okay, thank you.
And that's at the end of the agenda, but I did receive a second utility notice that does not appear on the agenda that I'd like to review as well.
Certainly.
The second one is for the Massachusetts Electrical Company has a property here in Brockton located at 161 Mulberry Street. The commission reviewed an RDA at the same property within the last year, I think, for the construction of a storage shed or a kind of a barn thing on site. And we went through that. Anyway, the work that they're proposing now is again exempt work. It's soil testing, and that work itself is exempt. That work is in support of ultimately they want to install two additional like antenna installations on site, and that the actual installation of the antenna may or may not be exempt technically. The soil boring is 100% exempt what they're doing right now. I spoke to the chair about this, and the commission, if the commission's not satisfied with the reasoning by any of these utilities, the commission absolutely has the right to either request for additional information or request that they file if the commission doesn't think that they meet that standard for an exempt activity. The act allows some types of work to move forward without filing a notice of intent or an RDA. This type of work is limited to a pre-existing, public utility that is in service of maintaining, repairing, or replacing, but not substantially changing or enlarging the existing lawfully located structure or facility. So if you're like repairing something, you don't need to file. But if you're adding new stuff, you might need to file. So if the commission thinks that the proposed work meets that threshold of expansion beyond just what's already there, you could require that they file with the commission. So at this point, I don't know exactly what they're proposing because the letter just doesn't have that amount of detail. The chair recommended that it might be worth the commission's time to send a letter and ask for more information about what is being proposed. And at that point, the commission can come back and look at it and decide if you all think this is going to meet that exempt requirement or not. And if not, then they could file with the commission.
It does say that the test pits are there, 2 3-foot test pits, but that's for in preparation for installation of ground rods associated with additional antenna installations. So the antenna installations themselves, I don't know how much would be required as far as work, to be done, but maybe we could just ask them to clarify that.
Yeah, ultimately the area that I assume the antennas will be installed are, they're hundreds and hundreds of feet away from like the actual wetland, but they are within bordering land subject to flooding. So it is within a jurisdictional resource area. However, I don't really think that the addition of the antennas are going to affect the flood storage capacity of that area. However, technically, any addition there should be, potentially reviewed by the commission. If they are, again, the whole area is developed, it's all paved back there. I don't anticipate that they're going to be dumping huge piles of fill from the excavation associated with these antennas, but again, this is kind of why the commission has oversight to begin with. So certainly require or asking for additional information is I would support that. And then once we receive that, you all can then make the call if you think they ought to be filing, an RDA or something else. If not.
I think we should send a letter asking for further explanation of the antennas and what's involved with that.
Appreciate it if you would.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that. I can certainly follow up with them. Yeah, great. And that's really it for me.
Anyone else? No? Entertain a motion to close this meeting? Adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Clay, I.
Curtis,
Jean, I.
Nap I.
Talbot, aye.
Video on nine.
Yay. You didn't abstain. Worse, I. Good. Yay. Good night.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a great
Okay.
good
night.
night, all.
No,
Have a
Good
good
night.
weekend.
See you in February.